Today I'm going to be sharing with you my curriculum picks for my first grader for the 2026-2027 school year. I'm so excited about this new school year. I have been planning for about a year and a half now exactly what we're going to do for my son's first grade year, and I think I'm finally settled on exactly what we're going to do, and I'm so excited to share that with you guys today. So we're going to start off strong with language arts, and for language arts we're going to be using But First Fairytales from Where Do You Learn That? Rachel from the Nerdy Homeschooler, this is her curriculum for language arts, and this basically takes you through a whole bunch of fairy tales and classic tales and teaches you parts of language arts and literature, and has a beautiful student notebook and a beautiful book list, and I am very excited to use this. So I just printed off our student notebook, which is quite hefty, and we have our teacher's guide, and this is what we're going to be using for our core curriculum for language arts this year. I don't know why, but I always end up with 2 math curriculums. So this year we already got through like 15 lessons of Math 2 from The Good and the Beautiful at the end of last school year because he had finished level 1. So we're going to continue on with this, but we're also going to do this because I feel like Math with Confidence goes a little bit quicker, and sometimes when he's frustrated or gets stuck with whatever's going on in The Good and the Beautiful, we switch back and forth. And just like last year, we end up completing 2 math curriculums. So I really like both of these. I do like the spiral in The Good and the Beautiful, and I do like the Math with Confidence and how easy it is and the games and all the additional stuff with this. So we're probably just going to go through and see how much we can get done. We really do our core subjects every day, so I feel like we're just going to be able to fly through these, and if we run into any roadblocks and we have to pause, we have one or the other to go back and review. In addition to But First Fairytales for language arts, we are going to be using some extra resources for grammar, spelling, and handwriting. So for grammar, we're going to be using the Zahner glossary usage and mechanics. This is, I think, the first level of that. My son is technically in first grade, but he's reading beyond a second grade level. So we have completed The Good and the Beautiful level 2. So he is ready for something a little bit more challenging. So we're going to go through this. I think this is 3 lessons a week. So we're going to go through this and kind of see how far we get. For spelling, we're going to be doing Spelling Connections. This is again by Zahner Blosser. This is level 2, and I think this is going to be fairly easy for him. The word lists don't look very difficult, but I do think this will be a nice review of our spelling. So I'm excited to try this out this year. And then for handwriting, we just recently switched to Draw Right Now with him, and these books are so much better than just regular handwriting books because each book, when you have your handwriting exercise, it's technically copy work, but they teach you how to draw the picture and then you do the copy work. And his handwriting has improved so much with this copy work, and he really enjoys drawing his pictures. This is like one of the first things that he pulls out to do in the morning. So we are definitely going to be continuing on with Draw Right Now. We completed the first book, and I really like that we have some historic symbols and some animals around the world and habitats that kind of is going to go with some of the other stuff that we're doing this year. So I'm really excited to keep going with the Draw Right Now series and see how it works for him this year. For history, we're going to be using My World, My Story from Stories in History this year. This looks so cute and really, really fun. It's broken up into units. I really like that there's a book list, there's movies, there's videos. She has QR codes for everything. There's little activities and crafts that you just have to like cut out and print. This looks so much fun. I think this is going to be a perfect introduction for history for us this year. I'm really excited about it. This is technically for grades 1 and 2, so I don't know if you can use it over the span of 2 years if you want, but I plan on just doing 1 lesson a week and seeing how far we get in this. Now for geography and science, we're going to be using Go Global. Go Global is a literature-rich curriculum, and it actually encompasses a whole bunch of different subjects. So this is geography, science, history, world cultures, literature, everything but phonics, spelling, and math. That's what it says. So we're going to be using this alongside of everything else that we're doing, and we're just going to take a journey around the world, and I am super excited about this. I have had this book for 2 years now waiting to use it, and this is the year. I am so excited. You go through all the continents, you go through a whole bunch of countries. She has the most fun activities, like you have a fiesta when you study Mexico, and I just think this is going to be so much fun. So I'm using this as my main geography and also science curriculum because I really want to do a whole year on different biomes and habitats. So to go along with Go Global, I actually did purchase, I have 2 of them now. I'm waiting for the other ones to come from thrift books, but I purchased this whole series, A Walk in the Deciduous Forest, A Walk in the Prairie, and these are just going to enhance what we're already learning about different habitats and different locations as our science unit study. There's also 2 resources online that have an entire Science Around the World series of experiments, and they also have the Science of Fairytales. And since we're doing fairytales and we're going around the world, I figured that I could pull some resources from there if we're lacking in the experiment department. Even though Go Global does have a lot of science experiments in it, I think this is going to be a perfect addition so that we get everything nice and well-rounded, and we learned so much about animals and the forests and the different biomes and just everything. I'm super excited for this. For Bible, I have a couple different resources. We're going to be reading mostly through the Kingdom of God. This is the New Testament. We've read the Old Testament before, and we're going to go through the New Testament this year, as well as she recommends 2 other books from Lithos Kids for But First Fairytales as your like Bible study. So I think one is a parables book and the other one is like a pilgrim's journey. So once we finish this, I'll grab the other 2, and that's going to be our main like stories of the Bible this year. And we're going to follow her stories of the Bible schedule. We're going to follow her schedule for that from But First Fairytales. I also got this devotional. We're not going to do this every day, but I feel like since we're going to be learning about biomes and animals and habitats, it might be a cute thing to add in. These have like different animals, and then you do a devotional, and I just feel like this is kind of sweet on our co-op days or even days where we just like want a little bit of extra morning time. I think this is going to be really fun. And then Mater Amabilis is another Charlotte Mason inspired curriculum, kind of like Ambleside Online, only it's Catholic, and they're also doing it around the world for their first grade. And they recommended this book, Saints Around the World. So since we're Catholic, we are going to do Saints Around the World as well. I don't have a schedule for this, but it gives you a map and it shows you kind of like the different locations where all the different saints are from. So all I'm going to do is whatever country we are working on at the moment, I'm going to find a saint, and then we're going to read about the saint, and we are going to learn about the saints that way. So I thought this was a really sweet resource to teach my kids a little bit more about saints. We have a Catholic co-op, and we always do an All Saints Day party, and they have to dress up as a specific saint. So I thought that this would be really cool to learn about all the saints. So that is what we're going to be doing for Bible time. I have a lot of resources for music this year. What we're going to do throughout the entire year is we're going to use this Music Lab We Rock. This is really cool because every week, this has 52 weeks in it, so it's for an entire year. But every week, you learn about a new rock and roll band, group, or artist from a different kind of genre of rock music. So this is just a really great tool for exposure. I know my kids like to listen to the same couple songs over and over again, but I really love this because there's so much music to appreciate from all the different time periods and decades, and I really love the rock and roll and the classic stuff. So like week 1 is Elvis, and they give you a playlist. So my plan is to just go through this book and do one artist a week and really listen to the music all week. And I really like that it also has listening guides that includes some actual music and like a chord progression, because my son does play piano and ukulele. So I think he'll really get a lot out of this. He's also really interested in writing songs, so I think this would be really good inspiration for his songwriting. So we're definitely going to use this. I'm super excited. This is the book that Rachel recommends for her But First Fairytales music, and I have to be honest, this is a beautiful book. I love this. I love how colorful it is. I love that it goes through all of the different things. It teaches you about different instruments, how to build a song, about the sound waves and everything, rhythm. I love this. This is such a beautiful resource, so I'm really excited to go through this. For composer study this year, I'm really torn. I want to go full Charlotte Mason and choose 3 composers for the year and just listen to it. But again, being a music teacher, I just feel like that might not be enough. I have this book that I used to use when I taught elementary music, and I really like a lot of these, and I feel like it might be time to pull some of this stuff out. I especially like the picks that they have for the lower grades. I would love to do the Carnival of the Animals. I love that piece. I think it's really beautiful and I love the activities that go along with it. But then I'm also looking, and I love all of these, and I was like, maybe I should just go through this and do this as our composer study this year. It's not as in-depth as a Charlotte Mason. I could pick 3 and do 3 this year and just do it like that and do 1 per term. But I don't know, I'm definitely going to use this. I feel like we have a lot going on with music, so I don't need to go crazy, but they love it. So if the kids like it, why not just learn more about. And then the last music resource that I'm going to be using for my son are these Wunderkeys Pop Staff piano books. Now he is almost through book 1 and we're going to be moving on to book 2 this year, and hopefully by the end of the year we would get to book 3. But this is really nice. This is by Andrea Dow. These are fairly new. These have just come out maybe within the past 5 years, but this is for older beginners. He is only 6, but he can play this. And I find a lot of my younger kids, as long as they have a good foundation of like moving their hands around the piano, prefer this over some other piano methods. I really like it because it sounds like real music and they get excited because you could take this knowledge, and if they're singers as well, they could sing and play piano, or they could take this same knowledge and transfer it to ukulele or other instruments because they're basically just reading lead sheets and chord progressions. So this is by Andrea Dow, and basically the left hand plays the chords, the right hand plays the melody, and then it slowly moves them on to reading the bass staff, and there's a ton of fun activities in here. The second book is really awesome as well, and I like that half of the music is written by her, and they're all her original melodies, but some of the music is based off of classic themes, which is really nice. I'm trying to find one that does that. Like this one. This is based off of a Bach piece. So they are getting that little bit of music in there as well, the classical music recognition. So I love these books. As you can see, they're very worn. I use them all the time. So that is our music plan for this year. This is going to be our first year doing an artist study, and I'm really excited about it. I found these off Cottage Press, so it gives you the picture study and it also gives you the pictures. So I just printed out the little picture study that has the biography and like a little bits of information about the artist, and then I also printed out the pictures, and I have some frames in our dining room that I'm going to be putting the pictures up to do our picture study. So I printed out all the pictures and I'm very excited about that. And then so we're going to be doing Van Gogh for term 3, we're going to be doing Monet for term 2, I believe, and we're going to be doing Henri Matisse for term 1. And this was a unit study that I had made a couple years ago because I really wanted to start artist study, but I just never got around to doing it fully. So this has picture books that go with it, and I happen to have all the picture books, and then it also has a project to go with it and all the little templates for that. So these are the lessons I have for this. I don't know if any of this is like copywritten, so I've been hesitant to put it up on Teachers Pay Teachers, but I'm gonna go through and see if I can like take my own stuff this year and see what I could post, and then I could post this little unit study. But yeah, I really like how this kind of goes along with all of the pictures that we're going to study, and there's a project and things to learn about it. So I'm going to start out with this so that we have a better understanding of what we're looking for in art, what different mediums are, the color wheel, the patterns, and all of like whatever. And we can read some of the books. And then if I like doing the art study this way, I'm going to continue this for our other artists that we're going to study. There is also an art element that's integrated into But First Fairytales, so we are also going to do those art projects. They just are not going to coordinate 100% with our artist study. So these books go along with the rest of our riches. These were the recommendations in But First Fairytales for nature, character, and poetry. So we are going to be doing the Book of Animal Poetry. I think she has a schedule to read poems 4 out of the 5 days a week. So I'm really excited about this. It's really beautiful. I think my kids really need to learn way more about animals than they know. We're not like pet people, and we're not really like animal people. So I really want them to kind of get engrossed with these animals this year. And I love that this kind of goes along with our biome study. And I also have another resource that I'm going to be using alongside this. If my kids ever seem very interested in one of the animals, I'm going to pull out the Anthology of Intriguing Animals. This is so beautiful, and I always wanted to use it, but it's not like a full curriculum. I've seen people use it for copy work, and I think that's a really great idea. So if we ever are interested in one of the animals that we either learn from the poetry or that we're reading about in our nature study books or that we do in our devotional, I'm going to pull out one of these books and we are just going to learn a little bit more about animals. This is the children's book of virtues. This is what she has for a character, and it's these cute little poems. The pictures are really beautiful. I think this is really nice. I'm always trying to instill good character in my little boys. The character traits that this goes over: courage, perseverance, responsibility, work, self-discipline, compassion, faith, honesty, loyalty, and friendship. I think this will be really sweet. A nice addition to our morning time. And a lot of these stories kind of overlap with some of the other stuff that we're doing. So yeah, I really like this. This looks really sweet. I'm excited to use it. And then another resource that I have had for forever is Slow Down. I do have the curriculum that goes along with the Slow Down book. Now, Rachel just recommends you like read a page layout once a week, but I have the whole curriculum that has like the experiments and whatever that I bought years ago. So I might pull those out to do additional science. That's why I don't need a true science curriculum this year, because I feel like we're going to be doing so much that I don't even need one. We're going to cover so many topics, and I kind of like that broad approach this year. I did that a little bit with science last year. I want to see where my kids land. I want to expose them to as many things as I can and kind of see what their interests are. Like, I know they're interested in music and I know they're interested in books, but I'd really love to see kind of what other things interest them. So I'm trying to give them a feast to like pick and choose what they really like and where their interests lie. I'm excited about doing Slow Down this year. I'm excited to actually pull this book out. This is such a beautiful resource and a beautiful book. And the curriculum that I have, I will link below, that has like little mason jar activities that you could do, like mason jar science experiments. Really cute. So I might pair that with this as well. So I hope you guys liked seeing what we picked for our first grade curriculum this year. I am super excited. I think it's going to be a great year. Did you guys pick any of these same resources? What are your favorite resources for first grade? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I am going to be sharing my preschoolers curriculum picks when they come, because they are brand new and I don't even have them yet. So very excited about that. Thanks so much for watching. Bye guys.